G'day everyone and welcome to another wonderful episode of Joey's Nostalgia Experience. It is so wonderful to have you all back with us once again, and joining me as usual is my co-host Moses Yakub. Moses, you thrilled with the guest we have on today, mate?
Absolutely, Joey. It's going to be a great guest today, I reckon.
For two reasons. She is a legend in the Australian cinema, particularly during the New Wave era, and of course for many people around the world who are fans of the Wiggles, you'll definitely remember her for her role as Mrs. Bingle. But of course, she's best known too for her role as Jessie in the iconic Australian film Mad Max alongside Mel Gibson, and it is such a wonderfully great privilege to have her on the podcast finally. Please welcome the lovely Miss Joanne Samuel. G'day, Joanne.
Hello, Joanne.
G'day, everyone. Lovely to be here.
It's so lovely to have you with us finally. I mean, we've been talking back and forth about trying to find the right day and time, and I know it's not 100% perfect at the moment because you're currently in the middle of renovations, but nonetheless, it's just such a privilege to finally chat with you. And like I said, a legend as well. I mean, especially during such an important part of Australian cinema.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. They're lovely, kind words. It was a Renaissance time. I was very lucky to be part of that era and that time. We had really no film industry. Late 60s, early 70s is when it really took off. And of course, Mad Max, that was part of that era. That was really, really good. I would feel privileged and honored to have been part of it all.
I mean, for you, like we said, I mean, it was during a time, like you mentioned, when the 70s rolled around. For some reason, and this is something that impressed me as well, I think Moses would have learned the same thing, is how the industry boomed in Australia at a particular point in history, to the point where, like, people from around the world, I mean, there were so many wonderfully made films during the time, and including Mad Max, that I guess kind of shook the world in a way that made us very unique and interesting. So I'd love to hear from your experience, particularly from your time in the industry during that period of history, which I think is really important, of how it made you feel as someone, as an actress or working in the industry, to see that Australia was getting recognized over time globally on a scale that hadn't been seen before.
Yeah, it was quite a surprise. I did a lot of television at that time as well, and that was a wonderful time to be in the television industry and to be Australian, just from a homegrown perspective where audiences love to tune in to watch themselves. And the film industry, of course, just took off, and it was just the heyday. We had so much fun. It was a small industry, so you knew everybody, and everybody, it was like one big giant family working together over both the film and television industries. And it was just a blessed time. It was really fantastic to be part of it. I was still friends with a lot of people from that era, actors and directors, and that we just kept our friendship because we had such a wonderful privilege to be part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was such a, like you said, it was a small community, which again, it kind of brings the important. I mean, I was trying to find the words for it. I think what's incredible about it is because, like you said, there was such a small community within the industry. I think that brought out more of the realism as well, because they, it's like there's real connection. And I think that's why so many great actors took off the way they did. I mean, especially during that time. I mean, looking back on it, it surprises me like how many of the great actors came from it.
It just made it a lot easier to work. Yeah, it was great friendships and great connections. And then he just went from one job to another in that time. It was incredible. Mm.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, during that new wave era, like with the Australian film industry, going back, going up, in around the 70s, and to think it started with Mad Max, and you've worked with many professionals like Mel Gibson. When you look back on it now, do you get people saying you've made history, with Australia, saying that you've been, how would I word it, like making history as, not just, actors, but just people in the film industry in general?
Oh, it was iconic, and it was a shock because it was for Mad Max I'm talking about. Because you just didn't expect it to do. I don't even think George Miller didn't even really expect it to do as well as it did. It was Mad Max 1 was made on a shoestring, and there was so many problems and things that had to be overcome. And we did everything for real. There was no green screen, there was no special effects. Everything was done in actual speeds, with real. It was, you couldn't make a movie like it now.
Mm.
That is true,
It
yeah.
just would not be possible. And I
Extraordinary.
Okay, we're back. Apologies for everyone. We just had a few technical difficulties, but we're back here now. So basically, what we were saying before is working in the new wave industry in Australia in the 70s. I mean, for you, it must have been exceptionally exciting because you literally experienced it firsthand to the point where you starred in a major motion picture film in Australia alongside a future star in his own right, a formerly well-known Aussie by the name of Mel Gibson. What was that experience like working alongside him in Mad Max?
oh, it was fantastic. He's actually American. He was born in New York State, but he did spend a lot of time when he was growing up and young, and of course he went to NIDA. But when
Ah, yeah, of course.
he he was such a hardworking actor.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was so inquisitive, and he was always asking George questions. George Miller, the director, he was just so engaged and really, really hardworking. Yeah, he doesn't stop. He was fantastic to work with. Look, they all were. There's some great people that were on that movie that are no longer with us. Grant Page, the stunt man, I always think he was a star of the movie. Hugh Keysburn, he's gone, the toe cutter. Paul Johnstone, he played Kundalini. So there's a lot of people that have left us, that I reckon everybody just contributed to make that film what it was. But Mel, he's a star. He was a star. He's got that. It's a gift. He has a gift from God. Yeah.
And I say formerly Australian because I think it's funny to think that that he was once an Aussie in a way for some period of time. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean I was kind of shocked and surprised that he was even in Australia, let alone graduating from NIDA.
Yeah. Well, his dad was an incredibly bright man, and he won some television show that answering all these questions, and he ended up bringing his family over here. There's quite a few siblings in the Gibson family. Can't remember exactly now how many there are, but there's a few. Good Catholic family.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, good Catholic family. We'll leave it at they're a good Catholic family. We don't have to go into too much detail about that because we know about Mel Gibson's career afterwards. It's a big one, a crazy
Incredibly.
one. But I'm glad his humble beginnings was here in Australia, alongside you and Mad
Yeah,
Max. But I've got to say, I must ask, like, because it was such a big movie. Like, I'm curious to know how you first heard about it and how you first got cast in the role as
right.
Jessie.
Well, I always had an agent, and George approached agents. My agent put me up for it, and I went along to audition, and I didn't get the role initially. Another actor, Rosie Bailey, George later said that I was a little bit too well known from television. I'd been on TV weeks and all that sort of stuff, and gone from doing a lot of television. And he was looking for somebody who wasn't as well known, so he cast Rosie Bailey. And on the first day of filming, she was on the back of the bike with Grant Page, which would never happen these days either, um, driving out to location to start filming. It was very early in the morning. They were on the bike, and there was sun behind him, Grant and Rosie on the bike. The semi trailer was blinded by the sun and didn't see them, and pulled out right in front of them. So Grant, being Grant, he dropped the bike, slid it underneath the semi trailer, saved their lives, but broke his leg and her leg. He also had some internal injuries, Grant, because when he went under, he sort of pushed her aside. And yeah, so she came out with a broken leg, and he had a broken leg. And so George said to Byron Kennedy, who was the producer, he said, just ring Joanne. And so that's how I got the role, because I was the next in line. But I'm forever grateful. I have a good. We still talk. I still talk to George from time to time. He's fabulous guy, really good guy. Um, so yeah, that's how
A
I got the role.
trailblazer too. Like he was one of the big first major. Like I don't know about anyone else, but I feel like he was one of the first like major filmmakers to come out of Australia
Yeah.
to be recognized globally in a way. Like him, and then we've got Baz Luhrmann today. More recently, we got
Mm.
the Philippou brothers who did the horror films Talk to Me. Like I think Australia, because there's so I feel like I should have said this earlier. I think what makes it so unique is the fact that Australia has so much space. And because there's so much space, particularly in the outback, it was probably just a vision's dream come true for George Miller himself to make Mad Max.
Yes.
Well, originally I think they wanted to shoot it in the city, but it was that was fraught with problems. So to make it easier to shoot without restrictions, etc., he moved it into inland Victoria, different spots in Victoria, and so it ended
Interesting.
up out there, which I think,
Hmm.
yeah. And the cameraman David Egby, he shot everything really low, the camera really low to the ground, so it made the speed feel even faster. And so his photography and his shooting was incredible, I think. It's amazing what we pulled off um, to do it. It was incredible. There was a few problems, but all overcome because we had cars that would break down. Um, and of course, the guys playing the bikers, they were given their bikes in Sydney and their wardrobe. They call it costume now, in Sydney, and they drove in a pack all the way down to Melbourne to shoot it, and they lived it. They just lived the role from beginning to end. They I remember going to the hairdresser. When I first got the role and first went down, I went to the hairdresser to get my hair cut, and I was sitting there, and we could hear this amazing noise of bikes coming down. It was Toorak Road, and in walked all these guys in their garb, and they looked at me and freaked out the poor hairdresser. They collected all my hair and said, "We're gonna get you bronze," and left. And that was my opening day to being down in Melbourne to shoot Mad Max. They were absolutely in the role right from the beginning. Yeah, it was so they were amazing. And I think it was a little bit confronting for George as well, because excuse excuse me,
That's all right.
they were really full on, like they were the bikers. So,
and I guess that's what, and the community thing too, like that's what you mentioned as well, like because it was a small community, there was so much realism within it, because like you said, I think what makes these films stand out is when you get the actual things to work alongside with it, and it can be scary and but at the same time,
scary.
Especially if you're making a movie, you want to be able to connect to the obvious. I mean, to the audience.
Yeah, well, it needs to be believable. You need to actually believe it. And I think shooting it the way we shot it, with the people that we shot it with, it just, it makes it believable. That's what it was. So,
I mean, Australia's really good at that. I don't know why. I mean, we for some reason know how to make believable films when we need to.
Yeah, well, you need to be believable so people are invested, so people care. They care about the characters. They care about them. And then so when something happens, it affects the audience. You can't never forget the audience. Without them, what's our job? You need people to connect on an audience level as well. And I think that's what blew George out a lot, was how fast it went around the world then. It was just incredible. I think Japan.
I mean, how did it I was going to say, how did it change your life in terms of, because when the film finally came out, it became so big. It was the most profitable film to ever come out of Australia at the time, and it was the launch pad for Mel Gibson, for George Miller. I mean, George Miller went on to direct bigger, major films too. I mean, he even directed Babe, which I love so much. And he
that's a great film.
He just worked. It's a great film, and I just think the fact that it all links back to Mad Max as well, for so many reasons. I mean, for the Australian film and television industry, and even for you, like I'm curious to know how it changed your life when it became so big.
Well, it just continues to be part of my life. I say Mad Max for me was the gift that keeps on giving, because I kept those friendships with the actors and crew members, and that was amazing. But it also put me on a world stage, which was amazing. So, and it continues. We often used to do, we did the 45th anniversary and different anniversaries over the years. And I was always blown up that people would arrive from all over the world just to shake our hand. And the other thing I found amazing was that a whole new generation of young people, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, who were in the queue to meet us. And that always amazed me, just amazed me.
And that is it based on the fact that I mean, even in more recent years, there was Mad Max Fury Road, which came out 10 years ago, which I remember seeing, and I thought that was the first. I had no idea, by the way, as someone who's very young, I had no idea that there was that there was an original Mad Max, because that was the Mad Max that I remember watching in the cinema and not realizing that the original was you and Mel Gibson. So it's crazy to think that, and also all of those directed by George Miller himself. So you get a sense of them trying to bring what they did back then back into the back on film screens in the 21st century, and to the point where they're even getting nominated and winning Oscars. So it's like there's something so special about it, like the realism in a way.
I still think the first one's best. I think Mel likes I think Mel thinks he likes the second one. But I think I like it. I like it because you did care about the characters. The characters were real. I think the further you got along in the Mad Max story, the more out there the characters became. The more, and so I felt, this is just my opinion, that they were harder to connect with, they were harder to identify with. So I think the first one's best.
Obviously. And I'm curious too, like, because I know you said you still keep up with George Miller, who's obviously a legend for those reasons alone. I'm just curious, when was the last time you got I mean, doesn't matter if you know the answer or not, but when was the last time you spoke with Mel Gibson? Because obviously you're playing alongside him in the film, and obviously his career took off after that. He went back to the States. He did all these great films. By the way, as someone who was born in the 90s, I probably just best remember him for screaming the lines, "Give me back my son." That's just, from me, that's how I knew who he was.
Yeah. No, he's going very well. He's just finished shooting The Resurrection.
Yes.
And he's editing that. So that'll be fantastic. I can't wait to see all that. Yeah. So no, he's going extremely well. And we keep in contact from time to time. But along with Steve Bisley. Yeah, so he played the goose, Steve. So yeah. But no, he's a bit of a genius, the old Mel.
Yeah. There's definitely he had some great roles. Like there's some performances like and when I mentioned the "Give Me Back My Son" bit from the film Ransom, like when you watch the entire scene, it's almost like a masterclass of what acting, or I mean what realism looks like. And I think and it makes sense that he started at Mad Max and is where he is now because of the amount of realism that goes into it. It's unbelievable. Like,
well, that's right. That's what I mean. Unless you're believable in your performance, then who's going to believe you? And then you go, okay, I'll switch that off. No, he's he's a very talented man.
He is. I'm gonna say, fast forward to 1997. This is where you worked with the Wiggles in the Wiggles movie, and you got to do the role of Mrs. Bingle. What was that experience like for you? Because it was like a big change, from all the movies like Mad Max to working in the children's industry. Like, what were the circumstances surrounding that?
I love working in the children's. I'm a kids movie tragic. I love kids movies. I got grandkids. I love to watch movies with them. I'm a bit of a tragic when it comes to that. Apart from musical theater I love, and I love kids movies. But the Wiggles, they were such a fantastic group of young men. They worked so hard, like physically hard. And the songs and what they did, that they are fantastic. They just work very, very hard, or they did at the time.
Oh yeah, no, they worked super hard. I mean, if doing 3 or 4 shows a day for 11 months is not hard work, I don't know what is.
And even Yeah, that's right. And the film, there was dance sequences and all that sort of stuff and filming those sequences um, was full on as well. It was physically, like you're dancing. And of course, when you shoot something, you shoot it in a wide shot, then you come in closer and you do it again and you do it again and you do it again. So some days, you were exhausted by the end of it. But I was impressed with them as for the people that they are. They would give up their Christmases to go to kids' hospitals, and uh, they're just really genuine people, and
Oh
they
yeah,
deserved all the success that they
absolutely.
received. Mm.
Yeah,
No,
no, they
I'm
deserve every national award there possibly could be.
yeah,
I know all of Australia's given to them. They should just get more and more. Are they on the
yeah.
Living National Treasure Registry? I don't know if they are,
I
but they
don't
should be.
know. I don't know.
They
They
really should be if
should
they aren't
be.
yet. They really should.
They absolutely should be. I was just always so impressed with them as human beings, first and
Mm.
foremost. Really, really good people.
So it doesn't
And
surprise you that
I
they're
enjoyed
still
it.
around.
No, it doesn't surprise me at all. When I did that film, I remember afterwards when it came out, there was kids in my neighborhood around the place that knew, and they would all call me Mrs. Bingle. You'd be walking down the street because we lived in a small community, and they'd all say, "Hey, Mrs. Bingle." And I loved it. I loved being associated with that movie. It was a real joy to be part of that. I've been totally blessed in my career and the people I've met and the things I've done. And I've been totally blessed. Mm.
I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, imagine being so big, like you're recognized for two major films, like there's Mad Max, internationally loved, and then there's the
Yeah,
children's industry too with the Wiggles movie,
yeah,
internationally loved again. So
yeah.
it must have felt great being back on that
I
kind of
did.
international stage, even with a role like that for the
Yeah.
Wiggles.
After a while living in this community, I started a youth theatre
Oh yeah.
because I think it's really important for the kids that are creative and want to do it. And this country is so sport orientated, but there is a group of kids and young people that really want to tread the boards. So for 15 years, I ran a youth theatre, and that brought me so much joy as well because the kids were just fantastic. The community that we created there. I had other teachers with me because we did everything. We did musical theatre, we did straight drama, we did film, and we did Shakespeare. And the kids were just, oh, they loved it. And they formed a great community. It reminded me of when I was growing up. I used to go to a ballet school called Honeybrooks Ballet Studio. And it was similar to that. And I wanted to try to replicate that because it was, when you're with your tribe of people that, and the kids knew it. And they were just fantastic. And some of the plays we did, I was really, really proud of them. Yeah, it was fantastic. Mm.
Mm.
Kids were great. So yeah, but I've stopped that now. Stopped it
Mm.
now. Yeah,
Mm.
and I started
But
to. Mhm.
oh no, sorry, you
I
go.
must ask though. I was going to say I must ask because I'm curious to know because we know how you got into Mad Max, but now it's time to ask how did you hear about the role of Mrs. Bingle and how did you get cast in the film? I mean, obviously it's a big. I'm surprised the Wiggles even got you in the first place because you start alongside Mel Gibson in Mad
Oh
Max.
no, I know. No, that I had a dear friend who was an actor who's no longer with us, Bud Tingle. He did so many great Australian movies and shows, And I remember him always saying to me, because he directed some shows I did, like Skyways, and this was before you were even born, Skyways and Matlocks and Homicides and things. And I remember him saying to me, just say yes, Joe, just do things, just keep working, just keep working. And he was so right. I always wanted to be a working actor, just working. And so therefore you always have an agent, and then people see you and they might want to see you to audition, or they might just very rarely just offer you the role. But they contact your agent, and then your agent talks to them and negotiates, and you audition and do all that sort of stuff. And it was the same with the Wiggles. um, but I'm trying to remember back. I think they just rang and offered it to me. I think they asked if I can dance. I always dance and sing. So that wasn't, that I think they asked all that sort of stuff, but yeah. Mm. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
it's always
particularly
good.
as a teacher in with the students, so obviously it's very obvious.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you need the more strings to your bow, the better as a performer. I do love the theatre as well. I loved it working with the kids and getting them up. It was always hard to find venues that weren't
Mm.
very, very expensive, but yeah, we managed. We did it in all sorts of places. Mm. And some of the
Mm.
And I,
kids, they wanted to do lights or backstage, stage managing. So they learned they could, in the end, run a show themselves. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, sorry,
Mm.
Moses, you were going to say?
I was gonna say, yeah, when we interviewed, I don't know if you remember Nori Constantian. He played the role of Cecil from the Magic Club. I heard from,
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
yeah, that apparently the first scene that you guys filmed was the circus tent scene, which we all,
Uh-huh.
as kids, we would think that this was the last scene that you guys filmed, but turns out, and it was the last scene in the movie, but it was the first scene that you guys filmed in the circus tent doing
Mm-hmm.
that dance sequence. How,
Yeah.
how, so with the choreographer Leanne Halloran at the time,
Yeah.
what was it like dancing to the songs that you got to do?
It was fun. It was really fun. It was hard. It was, very physical and hard, just to
Yeah,
keep it up. But it was fun. I always find work fun.
yeah.
It's very rarely that when I'm working that I don't enjoy it. Um, I reckon
Mm.
99% of the time it's always been really good fun, and that to do all those things in that movie. And some of those songs were fantastic. Their songs were
Yeah.
great.
Oh, that was
You know,
so like I think people. I mean, the Wiggles seem like they're one of those groups that isn't playing because there's always the stereotype of like the obnoxious kids songs, and then they're so brain rotty today, and they're not like that good. And then with
uh,
AI as well, and it's all very like, oh, it's
uh,
disgusting. But with the Wiggles too, I think it's different with them because they treated themselves like a genuine rock band, rock slash children's group.
well,
Like, and they just had songs that were genuine bangers. Like, they sounded incredible, and everyone could listen to them and sing along to them. I mean, who in Australia? I mean, I find it hard to believe that Fruit Salad is genuinely a kid's song because that really slaps hard. It's really
yeah.
good.
Well, they were musicians, a couple of them, weren't they? They did come out of,
Yeah,
was it the Cockroaches?
the
That
Orgy,
cockroaches.
band?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, they were the songs. I mean, you can still sing them now, can't you? And remember them all. I remember somebody
Oh
saying to
yeah.
me, "Oh, that like I can't get a song out of my head." And I took my grandkids to see them live, and the kids would go maniac. They would just be jumping and singing, and it was
Yeah.
just wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, it
Mm.
was such a time to be alive. I mean, for me and Moses ourselves, when we grew up during the original era as well. Like I remember watching the movie and the original Wiggles during that time when kids entertainment in Australia was just, I feel like it could have honestly been on top of the world, not just the Wiggles, but anything that was in Australia during that time. So, I mean, as much as I love the fact that the Wiggles took off as well, I also feel a little bit let down in a way, because I feel like there's so many great artists and acts and performers and creative people behind the scenes who could have had much bigger careers had, you know, more risks are being taken. And I'm not sure what that was like for you in the industry, because obviously there would have been times where you probably would have experienced it firsthand where, oh, I wish they did this, or I wish I did that. But how do you usually cope with those sort of decisions? I personally think about them a lot, and I wonder, oh, what if?
You mean if you're not working, or
Oh no, if you are if you're not working, but you see something that you feel like is a good idea, but then you don't go with it, and then someone else takes it, or something like that.
Okay. Well, I have directed a couple of movies, but I don't know. I think it's important that being an actor is not who you are. It's part of you. There's always so many different other facets to your life that are just as important. So I love being an actor and I love working, but I do love being a mum and a grandma. And I do love working in the garden. There's just so many other parts of me that are just as important. So I never ever feel like I've missed out. I never feel that. As I said, I feel like I've been totally blessed.
Yeah.
Blessed with
I feel like it's important. Yeah. I think it's important to live life without regret too. You know, I think it's an important lesson for everyone.
I think you got to wake up every day and see it as a gift, and just enjoy it every day and what that brings, because you never know what's going to happen. You can't, predict the future. But
it's predicting itself for us. It's doing it for us. So we don't have to guess anymore.
Scary times. Scary times.
Don't worry. We'll fight back.
Emotional too.
Will you fight back? Fight back. Because I do feel for you young people, and I feel like my children and my grandchildren, but then once again you go, well, I'm really grateful for this day. I'm grateful that everything is okay this day. But I pray for you guys' future that it'll be fantastic.
Don't worry.
Keep on fighting, guys.
We will keep fighting. I mean, we are we'll never let our voices be unheard, and I'm sure everything's going to be fine. I think we're becoming a lot smarter than people think. I mean, sure, younger people might be feeling like they don't have to think as much, but then once they get to a certain age, or they become more intelligent than you think and more heartfelt than you think. But at the same time, I think there's also a culture that normalizes. I think it's hard because we live in a society now, Joanne, that sort of doesn't throw any consequences or punishments if you say something or do something, particularly if it's online. I mean, it's a different world. I mean, but at the same time, I think there'll be a positive outcome, and I'm trying to stay positive. But I think when people say there's nothing we can do about it, and there's nothing we can do about it, the same people who say that are the ones who aren't going to be around after 20 years. So it's like, well, I mean, should we be taking their word? So it's like, I think it's really up to us.
Yeah, there's those that are awake, and there are those that are asleep to what's happening around them. Yeah, and I think you got to have your voice to be able to speak out against things that aren't right. And
yeah,
but it is.
Don't worry, I've said that. I've done it plenty of times on the show before. On the show before, plenty of times. But it's but it's because I care. like I care that much about the industry in Australia. Like I feel like there's so much potential, like not just for younger people, but for like, you know, just so many ideas. Like the Australians are, in my opinion, the most larrikin, carefree people that you could possibly imagine. Like, and I know that sounds a bit biased, being quote a Melbourne boy myself, but at the same time, it's true. Like we're very relaxed and chill. We don't overthink too much, and we're very friendly towards each other. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's like we're not like crazy in a sense. Like there's some countries who I could name that are crazy, but I won't do it because I don't want to alienate fans. So it's like
no. I think you have to protect that. You have to protect that laconic, beautiful Australian easiness and friendliness and culture that we have. We do have a culture that's beautifully Australian of who we are as people. It's really important to protect that.
100%. I mean, look at Bluey. I mean, Bluey's become the biggest thing in the world.
Oh, don't you love Bluey? Because
who doesn't?
There it is.
Who doesn't love Bluey?
I love it. I read those books to my grandkids. But here they are in America, all speaking with Australian accents. Like, how great is that? Like,
Bluey's one of the best things since the Wiggles.
Best country we are.
Best things since Steve Irwin. Seriously.
I love it that they're out there and doing it. I love that show. I love it. I love reading the books too. Really good.
It's so calming, relaxing. Even the music. I love listening to the music. When I relax and the stars are out. It's like, this is heaven.
Yeah. No,
but we need more of that. That's like I said, we definitely need more like that. We've got a lot to offer because we're very calm, relaxing, funny, heartfelt folks and Americans.
Yeah.
Even our animals are amazing. Like I've been to Australia Zoo and it's like it makes me feel so proud being an Aussie thinking, wow, even our wildlife's incredible.
Good. I'm glad. That's for sure.
It's like we've got a lot to offer. That's the thing.
Yeah, be proud. I guess it'd be really good. I always have this thing. I wish Screen Australia would actually set aside a certain amount of financing for young people that are just starting out and have a good idea, and not make it so difficult to cross the barrier for funding. You know, I wish that they would have something like that there for young people to access. So maybe lobby the minister.
Either way, please give our young people give us a chance.
Please give our young people a chance. That's exactly right.
Yeah, let us be heard.
Because
let us tell our stories.
That's right. When you remember, like the American film industry to begin with, they made so many films. They made film after film after film in those early days, and they made mistakes and they learned, and that's how you learn. You learn by doing it, making mistakes and going back and doing it again and doing it again. And that's why the American film industry just took off, because they were just prolific back in those eras. They just churn it out. Yeah. So that's what we need.
But it's the same reason why the Australian industry once took off. It's like, I'm wondering when we're ever going to see something like that ever again. Because the new wave wasn't just something that was like, it wasn't just films that were funny and iconic. It was like the fact that they broke barriers, took off, went popular across the world, not just Australia, but the world. People started to find out who we were. I mean, Mad Max being one of the best examples. And it's still happening. Like the sequels are like getting nominated at the Oscars because it's incredible storytelling from an Australian point of view.
Well, there were people back in the day. There were people right back in the day like Philip Adams and what's the guy's name from Village Roadshow. They did a lot to help that time in the industry get up and running. Like they made a film, and Barry Humphries.
Oh, Barry
I don't
Barry
know.
Humphries, yes.
Yeah.
Legend. Just such a legend.
So such a legend. They made Barry Mackenzie with Barry
Barry
Crocker.
McKenzie. Barry Crocker as well,
And
yeah.
that took off. But everybody said, "Oh, it's so crude and rude," but it just took off and it made so much money. So that was what, those people, they took huge risks because they were passionate. They were passionate about making films and being in the film industry, and that their passion, some of them led them to mortgage houses to make films. I mean, when you look at The Man from Snowy River, there's another iconic movie of the time that just took off that is now rated, I think, underneath The Black Stallion as the most successful horse movie in the world.
Yeah.
So, and actors doing those things on horses down those huge big, hills and cliffs and things. That was the actor that did that.
Oh, there was another film I remember watching too that I just realized it's from the New Wave as well, and it was such a brilliantly made film. Walkabout. I loved watching that film
yes.
too. Such a great, wonderful film. Movie. Yeah. If you're, it's like if you're studying acting, that's the film you should be watching to understand the New Wave. That and Mad Max.
That was David Gulpilil, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was. Yeah.
It was, David
husband.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace.
It was great, wonderful.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just sort of making.
That's all right.
I'm looking at the lighting on me, and I'm too. Oh my. Yeah. My husband and John Jarrett have just finished a documentary, and it had some amazing interviews about just that, like you're talking about, the new wave of the Australian film industry. And they interviewed David Gulpilil, they interviewed George, they interviewed Barry Humphries, they interviewed Mel, of course. They interviewed so many fabulous people explaining the story of what they were up against to get this, the new wave of filmmakers up and happening. It's called Wake in Film. So that'll be coming out somewhere soon. Wake in Film.
Wake in Film. Interesting.
Okay. Well,
podcast.
Sorry, what did you say?
Oh, that's you go, Joey. Sorry.
Oh no, you continue, Moses.
I was going to say, by the time we release the podcast, I think the audience is going to be the first to know of that new documentary that you explained, that I think is
probably.
I think it's going to be.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's not only we've actually learned a lot about the new wave, not only in school but also in acting college. Because I went to JMC Academy and I studied what we called Australians in the film in acting industry, and the new wave was just a huge category we uncovered.
Oh, you should have had the doco for that.
Oh yeah, should have.
Yeah. I often think about that kids should look at it, and young people, and have a look at it and see what happened and see how people actually did what they did back then. It was pretty amazing.
Well, I mean, even for the viewers watching the show from the States, I think it's important for them to know that the reason that most of them would know about us is based off the fact that we come from these sort of products like the new wave and Paul Hogan, Crocodile Dundee, all those kind of things. Crocodile Dundee too. Yep, that was another one of the biggest. I mean, that was when we were really on top of the world at one point.
Yeah. Well, we need to get back there again, guys.
Oh, we are. Bluey's done that already.
We are, yeah.
And
Bluey's done it. Bluey's done it for us.
This is up to you now.
It is up to us, but not just for
Yeah.
Bluey, but for us. We can definitely get back up there.
Yeah,
It'll
good
be,
on
what do we
you.
call the next wave, the next gen wave.
The next wave, and this one will be bigger.
Yeah, I reckon it'll be bigger. And like I said, there was a few newer filmmakers in Australia who've gone up there. There was the Philippou brothers who, like, they were known
Yep.
on YouTube as Raka Raka, and then they went into filmmaking and made Talk to Me and Bring It Back. And by the way, Talk to Me is, I think, in my opinion, one of the, not just the best horror film that I've seen, but the best Australian made film in so long. I think we need to
Yeah.
see more films like that because it brings so much work in the Australian industry. And
Yeah.
I just think, and when there's so much space as well. I mean, even the major films in the States come down to Australia to film or do special effects because there's so much space.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they get a lot of tax cuts for doing it, and they get a lot of help from our government to do it too.
We just
Yeah, they
we
do.
definitely need more of that. But before
Yeah.
we finish up, I'm very interested to hear from you what your advice would be. I mean, particularly from your experience working on these great films, what would your advice be for younger people? I mean, particularly in Australia, about, you know, they're trying to find work, but it's hard because the industry hasn't got a lot to offer. I mean, we've seen, unfortunately, a few musical theatre shows be
Fall.
cancelled because there's lack of attendance and funding and all that stuff. But what would your advice be to keep the young people's spirits up and to be involved in the arts?
I think you've got to create things yourself. I think you've got to surround yourself with like-minded people and create things yourself. There's a young choreographer and director, Joel Burke. He started a ballet company called Big, and he's based in Brisbane. He shot a film with us a few years back, and he has created this amazing ballet company. He now travels the world with it. He's doing Dracula in Sydney and in Singapore, in London. They took it to London and Scotland. And he works very hard, but he just created this himself. And he's made ballet accessible. It's accessible. It's not like having to pay over $200 for a ticket to go and see the ballet. You can get in there for $80 and you can get a really good seat. And he does the choreography, he does the directing, he produces. So my advice to young people is to create it yourself. Have a vision and go for it. And surround yourself with like-minded people that have the same vision and you can work with. And yeah, do it. Don't let anything stop you. Just keep going.
Just keep going.
You made my day.
Advice. Yeah, wonderful advice from an absolute legend of Australian cinema. Thank you so much, Joanne. Joanne, it was such a privilege to speak with you and to hear your stories. And I'm hoping young people see this and take those words into account and really just create our own stories. You know, same reason why we're doing a podcast and helping preserve those stories.
Good on you guys. Good on you guys.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Onward and upward.
Thank you.
Onward and upward. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. And thank you to all of the viewers for watching today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you can follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, etc. Joanne, would you like to sign off our show in any way you'd like? I mean, we don't really have an end tagline, but you can do it any way you like.
Oh, I don't know. I would just say, God bless you all and keep on going onward and upward.
Onward and upward. That's how we'll end it up. We'll end it upwards. Onwards and upwards.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Joanne.
Great pleasure, guys. Great pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.